I had to take a phone call there. We should just take phone calls live on the.
Right, right.
I don't think we could have taken that one
No,
in particular.
that would have been a difficult one to take, and it probably would have been boring for a lot of people to listen to.
Yeah. I guess the roads are getting bad outside of Kingman.
Yes, especially in the areas where it's rural and they're dirt roads.
That's a good thing we took a snow day today.
Woo!
I was supposed to work just outside of town, just off Blake Ranch Road. And
Yeah.
I was told not to go out there.
Because it's going to be the same thing out that way.
Yeah.
Maybe even worse out that way because they're closer, like, to the mountains and stuff.
Where we are in northwest Arizona, we're about an hour and a half south of Vegas for our listeners in London and around the world. So we get snow maybe once every couple years here. So it's a big deal out here. To me, it's not really a big deal because I grew up in it. But you didn't grow up in snow though.
No, it's a little scary for me. Like my strategy when I have to drive out in it, if it comes to that where I actually have to drive out in it, is I go a lot slower than normal and I stay the fuck away from everyone else. And you'll see people like hauling ass down the road, and then I'm not kidding, like I'll come up later and there's their truck in the ditch. I'm like, then they hit their brakes or something and skid it off. I'm like,
Oh,
ooh.
jeez.
I know. I'm like, dude,
All right,
people in
so
Arizona don't know how to handle snow. They're like, what?
no, it was cool.
Unless they live in Flagstaff, then they do.
It was cool during the inauguration. When people were walking in, it started snowing. So you had all these little snowflakes descending on Washington D.C. It was just a
Oh,
very
the beautiful snowflakes.
the snowflakes have taken over.
Yes.
Not trying to rag on conservatives too much though, actually, because I remember the feeling that we got 4 years ago when that person took over, and
Right.
just a sense of dread and just like, oh, this is gonna be a long 4 years. I'm sure that they're thinking the same thing.
Yeah, I've been thinking that too. I'm like, I know, I get how they're feeling, but also I'm like, you guys are going to benefit from this. Whereas, please explain to me how the fuck you benefited from Amazon not paying any taxes, and I'll shut up.
Yeah,
But they can't because they
No.
didn't benefit from Amazon paying
And,
their taxes. And
you know-
Amazon wasn't the only one.
And on the tax thing, people were starting to do their taxes, and they were realizing that their taxes were starting to go. The normal everyday Joe was seeing that their taxes are starting to go up because
Because,
they're not going to get as much on their returns.
Because, like I've tried to explain this to people, I'm like, who the fuck do you think has to pay for corporations not paying for taxes? It's not like it just goes away.
Yeah.
It's not like they're like taxes aren't needed to run things, to run a government. Like, if they don't have to pay for them, someone is going to have to make up for it. And who do you think that's going to be? Who it always is, the fucking middle class.
Well,
The middle class is getting raped more and more. It's like, I don't know if I really should use that word, but I mean, it's like, I get pissed because I'm like, you guys don't realize that you're bending yourselves over, and it's not, this isn't even so much like a Republican Democrat thing. Like, it's more of like a rich versus poor thing. And that's why I get so aggravated by some of these people, because I'm like, why don't you just pay attention to who's trying to cost you more personally? Like, the thing about the difference between the Republicans and the Democrats, and yes, there are bad ones and there are good ones on both sides. But for the most part, the Republican Party is for corporations. That is what they give a shit about. They have been. They have vehemently been that way since the 80s. Reagan really fucking gave it to the corporations.
Well, I mean, that's kind of their strategy, because if you have a lot of money, for the most part, you're Republican because you want to hold on to that money. So I think they learned early on, this is way before the Trump years, that that you
We live in a working poor town. How in the fuck does that benefit folks here?
yeah, well, what it is you have, and I'm not saying Republicans are smart. They play that divide and conquer thing, and
Right.
they play into the poor people's fears of, well, they're going to come take your guns, even though that's not true. They're not going to come take your guns, or these people are going to come over the border and take your jobs, and they use that fear against them, and then these people, they vote against their own best interests because they're afraid that, well, they're going to come take my guns, which isn't going to be the case. I mean, 8 years, I don't think Obama did anything to
And they said
take
the
away
entire
guns.
time that that was what was going to happen. That's what I'm saying. How in the fuck are you guys still fucking sleeping? How have you not wised up to this, that none of the lies that they tell you are true?
Well,
Like,
and
none of the fears that they sell you are true. It's all to steal from you.
and what was the big one that they were concerned about this week? Oh, the Keystone Pipeline shutting down. But from what I heard, that all that pipeline does is brings a very low grade of oil that we don't even use here, and they ship that oil off to China, I believe. So the Biden shut down the pipeline not to take away jobs. It was for environmental reasons, because once it's built, those 8,000 jobs, was it 4,000? 8,000 jobs, I think, are getting lost because of this. But those jobs were going to be gone away anyways once it was completed. And I think the Teamsters were the ones that the union that backs the people working on that pipeline. But I think those people will be, get other jobs. I mean, it's shitty that 8,000 people are out of work, but what this will do is, in order to transport that oil, it'll create trucking jobs because they're still going to ship this oil to where it's going.
Right. And how is it not shitty, all the people out of work, over the extremely irresponsible handling of COVID-19 too? I mean,
Yeah.
like, if these people are going to be mad over the 8,000 jobs that, or 4,000, whatever it is, that are lost in the Keystone pipeline, then be mad at all the other jobs that have been lost because of irresponsible handling of COVID-19.
Right, claiming that it was false. It's not this big deal. It's just the flu. Now we're up to 418,000
And all
deaths.
along, you guys have just been saying it's a fucking hoax.
Yeah.
You don't care about any of those jobs?
Well,
I'm calling bullshit. I'm calling bullshit on you.
yeah, it's just selective outrage.
Right.
You're just going after Biden on his first day in office. And when you're like, when the other guy was in office, you're like, well, give him a chance. And we're like, all right, well, give him a chance. And, what did he do? He signed a Muslim ban in his first few days. He got out of the Paris Climate Agreement in his first, couple
And
months.
obviously, if Biden shut down the Keystone Pipeline, then obviously he listened to scientists beforehand and experts, and it was like, because he's not going to just want to get rid of people's jobs, you guys. So obviously it was like, no, this is like for the betterment. Like, we need to do this step right now in order to help the planet. Like, it's causing some real problems.
Well, if we haven't already gone too far over the last 4 years of getting out of the...
Which I still think that we have. I mean, I hate to sound like, because I still want to have like a positive outlook about things, but I'm like, I think maybe some of the stuff is a little bit past
the turning point.
And I don't want to say all of it, because then what do you have to look forward to? Like, you can't just sit there and say, oh, we're fucked. Like, I still want to believe that if we do things and we really take it seriously, that there will be a really good chance for the babies who are being born now and even after them. Because people aren't going to stop having kids. Or not.
Oh, jeez, yeah. And, that's why I don't think we have a lot of conservative listeners because, if they came in, they would look out the window and go, global warming, it's snowing outside in Arizona.
They say that every time it snows. And I'm like, oh, you got us. Like, you usually get us like, what? Once every 3 years? Oh, okay.
Hey, it's because of global warming that we can't go outside and cook on the grill these fine ribs. Did you hear Dave Chappelle got COVID?
Yes, and a few of the people that were around him got it too. Yeah,
because he was in Austin, Texas, doing some shows with Joe Rogan.
Yeah, Joe Rogan was in the picture too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he got it, or was just exposed?
Well, he was exposed. Okay. Rogan gets tested regularly. Like Rogan moved his podcast studio to, I think it's near Austin, because he wanted to get out of California and all the high taxes. Mm-hmm. So he signed that Spotify deal for $100 million. So he moved to Texas for tax reasons, built a studio, and when Rogan has people on, they give them one of the rapid COVID tests before they're allowed to go into the studio, be near Rogan.
Oh.
Wish we could get $100 million for doing this podcast, but we need more listeners.
We're not Joe Rogan.
Definitely not Joe Rogan. But we are building an international audience, so
look out.
Check us out on our social media. Reality Redemption on Instagram, on Facebook. We have a Twitter. I need to get an email up and going so people can start to email us and give us some feedback.
Yeah, give us, whether it's negative or positive.
Yeah.
Or tell us if we suck.
Yeah.
We might need to know that.
We do suck some days. We realize this. Come on.
You're not going to get us down, because I feel pretty good about myself, don't you?
Yeah.
So
well, most days.
Right? So, but if you want to tell us, we're cool with that.
Hey, did you do something with your hair?
I got a haircut.
You did?
You got a haircut too,
I got a haircut too,
you?
yeah.
Yeah. I actually lost a friend over my haircut. Not only did I get hair cut off, but I got a trimming of my friend's lifts.
Oh my God.
While I was at it.
Yeah, I was dealing with the repercussions of that too.
Yeah, and it's I'm really okay with it because this person always tells me how it's important to cut toxic people out of your life. So I'm like, well, I guess you did it for me then. I mean, okay. Because if you're going to be mad because I am going to be nice to somebody that you can't stand, well, I have friends who are friends with people that I don't care too much for, and I don't tell them that they're not allowed to be friends with those people. I respect that, and I'm I'll hang out with you another time,
And somehow I got swept into the middle of it too, and I felt like I was in ninth grade again.
I know. I felt I was in high school.
You can't be friends with me if you don't choose this side.
You need to decide right now. It's me or her.
And I was sending you screenshots of it, going, and all I was saying was I'm staying out of it. None of my business. And
I was laughing my ass off the whole time. I wasn't even really mad or sad because I'm there's nothing I can say to that. There's nothing I can say that's what was I supposed to say? No, please don't leave me. What? If you don't want to be my friend anymore, okay.
Well, we can't really afford to lose listeners either.
I don't. Well.
Hey, maybe we gain some haters though.
Okay, if you're listening right now and you know who you are, I wish you the best in your life. I wish that you could really heal. I wish that that you would look more inside yourself sometimes and realize the problem, because I do that when I know that, like, I know that I am not a perfect person. I wish that you knew that you were not a perfect person, that you make mistakes and whatnot, and that other people who hurt you, they make mistakes too. Because I'm speaking of the person that you're mad at, that you can't stand, that you're mad that I was nice to. Okay. I can't believe I even have to. I feel like
Yeah.
I'm talking to a 6-year-old right now. But anyways, and I'm not trying to say that to put another dig in. It's like, this is honestly my feelings coming out here. I wish you the best in life. I do think that it's probably better that we are not friends, because I don't know how to deal with this. I will say nice things about you because I think that overall you're a good person in life, but let's just leave it on, let's end it on this, as Gwen Stefani would say.
Yeah, it's all
Like, it's okay.
yeah. I mean, like I don't have if two of my friends have a falling out, I don't choose sides and I don't abandon one of the friends if because it's not about that. I mean, by this age, if, for the younger listeners out there,
There's something called forgiveness.
yeah,
I mean, there's
there's forgiveness, but by the time you get to this age, we're all a little bit broken, and you need to accept that, that we all have our issues by this point. But hey, it is what it is. God, we're still here, still kicking. What else is? So to get off the conservative thing, and to turn it more towards our side, the left-leaning side. Now's the time for our side to accept responsibility. And I think on this episodes of Real Time with Bill Maher, he made a good point of that. We have to stop blaming everything on the previous administration and stand up.
I think. Yeah, that was what I liked that he said the best on that show, because I'm like, yeah, fuck it. Let's just get to work. I want to get to work.
Yeah.
I've already called my 2 senators, and they're even Democratic senators. Okay. Yay, Arizona. But it's like, I still called day 2 and was like, we need to end the filibuster. You need to call your senators. Everyone out there, call your senator. 202-224-3121. Call to end the filibuster. Even if whether you have Republican or Democrat senators, call,
and
please.
What does that do, ending a filibuster? For those who might not know.
Okay.
All right. Well, hey, we're trying to teach some civics to our listeners.
Right. So the filibuster, it will allow the people in Congress, like, to vote, like, how they have to go up and talk in front of each other?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So it allows that they...
Yeah. Okay. So basically, what?
Because I'm getting confused
when debating a bill, okay, before they vote on it, you get up and debate the bill.
Right.
Filibuster is when they get up there and they just waste time and just waste and just go on and on.
And then they
and
can't vote on it.
And,
like, it makes it so they have to
adjourn and come back another time.
Yes. Thank you.
Yes.
You see, you said it better than I did.
See, I knew what it was. I was just trying to teach our people out there that might not know what it is.
I know.
For those in
it gets difficult. It gets difficult explaining. Here's an example. They have used the filibuster as tactics way back during slavery to try to keep slavery a thing. And then they went and used the filibuster during civil rights. They tried to, during, like, segregation, when they were debating that is a lot of times when they use this filibuster too. They would use it, like, under LBJ. They'd use it under...
How long does it go on for, though? It seems like it would be I like this infinite babble. Like our podcast usually lasts between 45 to 5 minutes to an hour, and basically I just run out of stuff to say. I couldn't imagine
Right.
sitting up there on the Senate floor and just blah blah blah, and sometimes it lasts for hours and hours.
Well, and think of how many people you have there. So if they're each chiming in,
Yeah, God, and that's why nothing gets done in Congress.
right? That's why that's why Mitch McConnell wants to keep the filibuster. He wants to keep it.
But we have to decide about or is that one of the ones that it needs more than the majority? Again,
It might, but it
we'll have we'll have to-
Kamala Harris break the tie if it was one.
Yeah,
that,
but some things have to go to a super majority.
oh, like
certain
the
things,
60.
like 62, or I
Oh,
think 62.
okay.
Yeah, or like the impeachment has to go to 67, I think.
Oh, okay.
Because you need to flip 17 senators. Now, as far as the impeachment, I don't think they should last a whole lot of time on it. Like Bernie said, we can walk and chew gum. I don't think the Senate should allow that to consume them.
I don't think that they will. I think they're going to have like a short like trial or whatever, and then they're going to do the vote, right? I think they already were saying that they're not going to be wasting a whole lot of time on that.
Yeah, because there's more important things that need to get done.
Yeah. Like, people are hurting.
COVID relief bill, extending unemployment benefits and everything else, because we're not going to get back to normal anytime soon. Hey, and we've got more snow falling down outside. It's very pretty.
More snowflakes! Yes!
I know the people that listen to New England are probably like, oh, bullshit, fucking snow. Oh, God. So, yeah. So the liberal side needs to take more time at, being held accountable. And who was the guy that was on Mar? And he was talking about you can't make everything racist. You can't.
I can't remember his name,
He was really smart. But yeah, I mean, and the other thing, like
my only worry about what some of the stuff he was saying was, I'm like, but then when he says stuff, some of the things that he said, and it's not like I didn't agree with them, some people are going to take that the wrong way. And they're going to be like, see, well, look at what look at this. And it's like,
at first, when he first starts talking about it, I was kind of like, But the more he explained himself, I was kind of like, oh, I see.
But there's going to be people who aren't going to wait for the explanation. Right. They're going to just go off of.
Right. And
look at this. They've already done it.
I think we know some people that would automatically.
I know people like that.
That would automatically go, no, that's wrong. And like the other thing, we talked to Dave Chappelle a little while ago, and political correctness, and how people are offended by his jokes, and they want. I'm never gonna listen to Chappelle again because I was offended by that joke. And sometimes I don't like some of Chappelle's jokes, but
I do. I like him because he tells stories when he's up there. Like, he's one of my favorites because like there's always like a moral to the story. It's like you learn something too when you listen to his comedy, and then he's very passionate too. He puts very meaningful things in there, but also makes them funny.
Right. Like he'll tell a joke and you're like, oh, that was and you kind of cringe a little bit. I find myself laughing a little bit uncomfortable at the joke, but I kind of cringe a little bit too. I'm like, why would he say something like that? But if you listen to his explanation at the end of the story, you go, oh, okay. Well, he didn't really mean it to be offensive per se. There was a point why he said that, and then he explains what he meant by that, he said.
He's just brilliant. I mean, honestly, it's like the way that he can go and tell all that story, make you think about it, and then, like you said, like there's a total point to it and a real meaning behind it, it's like that's brilliance.
Right.
That's like a brilliant mind.
Right, like the one before that was Chris Rock in his last special. He made the joke about
he's good too.
a police officer shooting a white kid.
Yeah.
Now he didn't mean police officers go shoot white kids, but the moral to that story, and if you listen to it's on the Chris Rock special Tambourine, which is on Netflix. It's right at the beginning. If you listen to his explanation, yes, the joke makes you go, holy shit, I don't believe he said that. And you sort of, I couldn't help but laugh at it. But then you listen to the explanation, you get, oh, I get what he's saying. It's just social commentary.
That's what comedy is supposed to do. Isn't like comedy supposed to make you feel uncomfortable?
Yeah.
And then like, and you laugh things off. Like, that's what I thought it was supposed... I mean, even Carlin was doing that, you know?
And Carlin was a genius.
All of them were... Lenny Bruce. Lenny Bruce used to do the uncomfortability, too.
I was listening to...
Richard Pryor. I mean...
I was listening to an old interview with Larry King on the Opie Anthony show. And he was friends with Lenny Bruce. And he was telling a story about... how Lenny Bruce used to wear a prison uniform and used to go out on the streets and stop and talk to police and ask for directions just to see what the police's reaction was. Like, there's a convict coming up to me asking for directions, you know, and that was just a joke. It was just for himself, but I thought that's funny. Another fun fact about Larry King, because I was listening to these interviews. 23 years old, and he used to hang out at this restaurant in, I think it was New York, and Jimmy Hoffa walked in, and he interviewed Jimmy Hoffa at 23 years old.
No way!
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be so cool. I love Hoffa.
Yeah. Teamsters. What was that movie that was came out last year on Netflix?
The Irishman?
The Irishman, yeah.
I got really pissed off at that guy. Like, okay, like, the guy tried to say that he wanted to clear his conscience or whatnot, but then if you look further into that guy's story, like if you go and research it, because I did, I went and researched a little after watching the movie. The Irishman was a great movie, don't get me wrong, but it's not exactly factually based. So the house that he claims to have taken Jimmy Hoffa to and executed him at, the blood was tested in that home and none of the blood was Hoffa's. None of the blood was Hoffa's. But my biggest thing, the thing that pissed me off about him is if he claimed to kill Hoffa and then later he's sitting there in the fucking Teamsters hat, I wanted to slap that fucking hat off of his head. I'm like, how do you sit there and claim that you are the one that murdered him and then you go ahead and wear a fucking Teamsters hat after that? You son of a bitch. I was so mad. Like, that really irked me about that movie. But, you know, and honestly, the movie didn't portray Hoffa as a terrible person, as a lot of people like to say. Like, my dad always likes to get on my case about how Hoffa was a crook, blah, blah, blah. He was stealing from his own members, blah, blah, blah. And in the movie, it shows how Hoffa was the one that was, like, very concerned when it had the whole dealings with Las Vegas. And he's like, yeah, but couldn't this potentially hurt my members? Like, he said that. Like, this could ruin their retirements or whatnot. It's not like... I mean, and they didn't go into it. They didn't... I wish they would have went into the history of him a little more. Like, and I'm still saying, though, he was one of the labor leaders that did the most for working people. He's up there with a lot of other folks, too, like Cesar Chavez, which I'm going to shift gears a little here, but Biden put a bust of Cesar Chavez in the Oval Office already. So, yay.
Yeah. Well, Biden is Gonna
Let's
claim to be
bring-
the union president.
Yes, let's bring fucking unions back. Let's make that a thing here in the good old U.S.
Yeah, and
Let's get workers'
$15 minimum wage.
We
You know,
need,
hopefully that'll pass.
it is so important that workers are treated better in this country. It is so important. After the big, huge labor fight, then it seemed like things got better, and somewhere along the line we slacked off. I think it was the 80s. I hate to keep blaming everything on Reagan, but he really drew a line in the sand when he went against the air traffic controllers.
Oh, Reagan. But, yeah.
That was mental illness right there, too. I mean, they knew he was losing his mind. So.
I wonder how long they kept that under wraps for.
I think it was damn near close the whole presidency.
Mm.
His whole entire presidency.
You think Biden's going to make it to 4 years?
I think, well, he already said before, I hope that he lives up to his promise where he turns over the reins. I'm excited about a President Kamala Harris. I'm like, let's go.
And you know how we know everything's going to be okay? Is because there's dogs in the White House again.
Yes.
I mean, who doesn't love dogs?
I know.
And when's the last time there wasn't a dog in the White House other than the last 4 years?
I don't know. I can't tell you.
I mean, we had that vampire in the White House, Stephen, what's his name?
Is he considered a dog?
No,
What's he
you
considered?
can't compare him
Yeah,
to a
because
dog.
dogs are cool.
Yeah, dogs are cool. And we have the first rescue dog in the White House.
Yes.
So, anyway, I guess we're just rambling here. That's what this episode was. We really didn't go into it with any planning, but do we ever? But thanks for listening. Thanks for following us on social media. And, we will be back next week with another episode. And
Happy time.
I think our ribs are almost done here.
They're smelling really good.
Yeah, so
It's almost lunchtime.
we're going to have some ribs, and we will talk to you next week. Okay?
Bye, y'all.
Bye.